Hello you guys, and welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be.
I'm Whitney. Keep it cute and get the boot.
Your girl, as whack as she is in all her glory, was in the New York Times. All right, we are back. Let me just okay, there we go. Hey everybody. I had to make sure because when I first came on here, y'all couldn't hear me or whatever. We're not having those problems. Okay. It's good now. I changed mics back. So welcome everybody. I missed you. Kind of. No, I'm just playing. I did miss y'all. I did. Y'all, look, I needed that rest. I needed that time. Hey, everybody. Y'all missed me. Come on in. Hey, everybody. What up? All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. Let me hold on. Okay. All right. First and foremost, welcome to Evidence Over Emotions. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know by placing your city and or state in the chat. Okay. And I will shout you out. Make sure you keep it cute so you won't get the boot. Okay. Now, if you like to join the greatest show, okay. All right. I'm back, y'all. I promise y'all. Nope. Well, I can't promise y'all no more breaks because your girl is looking busy. We're going to talk about that, okay? Not for nothing, if you like to join the channel, you can do so by clicking the link that's located in the chat or in the description box, okay? Now, if you like to tip the hostess with the mostest, okay? Now, my birthday is weeks past, child. But if you want to give me a belated gift, you can do so. Hit my Cashapp, okay? All right, now, if you got a tip, you can send it to ReviewswithWhitneyD@gmail.com, all right? Okay, hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and get into these comments. It's Jack. Katie in the building. Hey, honey bunches of O's. Long time no see. Hey, Kamiko. Love you. Hey. I think that's everybody for right now. Okay. Hey, everybody. So I'm going to catch y'all up and let y'all know what's been going on or whatever. And then we're going to go ahead and get into this book. I am not going to hold y'all. All right. You know, we be trying to read this book and then I like to talk to y'all about it. Okay. Woo, child. All right. Your girl is, back in the corporate world, okay? By choice, though, I am actually a lobbyer or a lobbyister, if you will, or an ambassador for a franchise owner of McDonald's here in Dallas, Texas. Yes. I am going to be their city representative to get some votes overturned. Yeah, and I'm like excited about that. So you know, your girl is into politics now. And it just kind of stumbled in my lap, like for real, like, you know. So to God be the glory. This is a new hat that I'm putting on, and I wanted to take it serious. So I've been focused, okay? So don't think I've forgotten about you guys. I just been focused, and not for nothing. I want something fresh for Whitney D TV. I don't want it to get mundane and get caught up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still here, but God is just opening up doors for me. I've never did this job before, never. But the guy that put me in this position has that much faith in me that he was like, "Hey, I need you to get this done." So I am in the position to where I have the opportunity to speak to all 14 of the city of Dallas council members, and I have to get 11 of their votes overturned by next year. So this is a major project. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people in power when it comes to the city of Dallas and little old Whitney. Like, I'm just excited about that. And so yeah, so I'm doing that, as well as I am in the process of starting to cast for part 2 of When Time Stopped, and just a whole slew of other stuff that's kind of pulling me away from my YouTube, but I'm still here. Don't get it misconstrued. That's why I wanted to come tonight, as well as tomorrow. I will be here. I'm gonna try my best to broadcast live as the sentencing is going on. I told you guys I will have people that are going to be in the courthouse. No videos or anything are going to be in there. So I'm going to just report as the information comes in. But you can tune in here. I'll put the link in. I know we have other fellow YouTubers that are going to be doing the same thing. So I get it. However, if you would like to hear from Whitney D, you can do so and look for the link. I'll probably schedule it later on tonight, early tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. So that has been everything when it comes in regards to what's been going on with Whitney. I celebrated my birthday. You know, and it was exciting. I showed you guys pictures about that. Then only 10 days later, my husband's birthday was the 21st, and Father's Day before. It was just a lot, just busy. And then this opportunity. So I love y'all for being so supportive. And I'm grateful for you guys just being patient. I had a lot of people in my DMs, Whitney, where you at? So that's where I'm at, in the city of Dallas, being a freaking ambassador. Okay. And I'm just like all my other friends, but to be a city representative for a franchise owner, like I'm just like y'all can't tell me nothing, okay? Like I'm a politician here, you know what I'm saying? So you know, so I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. 35 has been beautiful, okay? It has its kinks, okay? But for the most part, God is taking me to different areas, and I'm able to be put at tables that I would have never thought I would be at. So that's what's going on. Now, in regards to R. Kelly, child, he gets sentenced tomorrow. Okay. I've been doing my whole road to sentencing R. Kelly, but child, okay, look, it's tomorrow. Okay, and I think it's scheduled for 10 o'clock in New York. So here in Texas, I think that's 9 for me. So, but either way it go, I'm gonna figure out the timing and stuff like that, and I'll be here. So if you would like to tune in with me, then that's absolutely great. Okay. Not for nothing, y'all. Tonight we're going to read a letter. Buffering. We're going to read a letter submitted by Joycelyn Savage on tonight, as well as, I mean, this is a coincidence, okay? But we've been reading, okay, the John Doe testimony of Lewis, okay, which is where he at, right here, the one in the red, okay, right here, that one. Okay, we've been reading his testimony, okay, and we've been hearing all the same stuff that he had to go through, that the women had to go through, okay? And so in this particular testimony, we're going to hear how both of them, all 2 of them, all 3 of them, both of them had to write fake letters that R. Kelly instructed them to do, okay? Instructed them to write, okay, to compose. And so I was like, wow, God, like this is amazing. So we're going to hear this letter from Joycelyn Savage who, of course, I feel like was coercive to write this, but we're gonna read that along as hear how these other John Does had to write letters as well that were by way of R. Kelly. Okay, but before we get into it, I want to say hi. I saw some people come in. Hey, Alicia Jones, she said hi. My mom is in the building. Shout out to Brendolyn Turner. Hey, mama. Thank y'all. Thank you, Katie, with the clapping emojis, and Kamiko with the strong arm emoji. Excuse me, y'all. I have my little deodorant. Excuse me. Um, Monica says, Whitney, I'm here finally. I miss you so much. I miss you more. I miss you more. I miss you more. I miss you more. Trust you me. Really says, hey, Whitney D, you look great, girl. Love the background. Thank you. It's real. My husband put that up. Now, I got some pieces missing, all right, because my husband over the weekend blessed me with a war room, baby, a prayer closet, right? It was beautiful, okay? But, yeah, he took some pieces off my wall, so if it look a little bare, that's what's going on. So, but, yeah, that's a real background, no green screen. Yeah. So Monica says, yes, you are really shining, girl. Happy for you, sis. I know you doing bigger things. God's blessings. Amen. Thank you so much. And y'all keep me in prayer. Because like I said, I've never had to be put in such a position. And it's not pressure, but it is pressure. And I'm just honored to be able to have an opportunity to be a representation of a city representative for a freaking franchise as McDonald's. Like, I'm dope, and we gotta get the votes overturned to keep a particular McDonald's that's been here since I remember, since I was little, to be able to stay. What they're trying to do is gentrify the community, okay, especially downtown Dallas. Okay, I'm on my soapbox real quick. All right, they're trying to gentrify it. What they want to do is take this particular McDonald's out because it's fast food, and they want to put one in the little vegan restaurants that the prices are skyrocket, okay? But we're not gonna have that, okay? This particular McDonald's is a staple of the community, of the Dallas community, and I have a lot of individuals that's gonna be backing me in regards to this particular move. But we're gonna talk about that later. I'm gonna be on my soapbox all day on my channel as well as my social media, using my voice like I know how to, okay? So, anyways, you guys, let's go ahead and get into this book. All right, I got a good hot hour for you guys while we get into this book. Okay, now really says, I'm feeling that red look. Yes. Now, okay, now this look is I don't have it, but it's Cherished by my brand affiliation of Shea Michelle Cosmetics. Okay, so it's Cherished. It's in her red. Okay, that's my favorite color in the whole wide world. But yes, all right. And then I have on Louis Z Boutiques lashes in San Antonio. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, love it. All right. Um, Monica Anderson says overwhelming. That's what you call it, sis. Yes, overwhelming. It's a lot, and I'm grateful. And I was able to meet the store managers and everything today. They got introduced to me to know who I am. So I'm just elated. Like, this is a awesome opportunity. All right, you guys. So I'm going to share my screen, but in the meantime, in between time, I want to go ahead and get you guys caught up and abreast to what happened in the last few. I'm about to say chapters. This ain't a book, but last few pages that we read. Okay, so we hear that Dominique Garner, okay, at this point in time is in relationship with R. Kelly, and incidentally, her path with Lewis's cross, and we hear how he finds out that Dominique is in relations with R. Kelly, and claiming him to be her boyfriend and all that stuff. We hear how he hit a lick on this little boy, okay, a little sneaky lick, okay, while the boy was intoxicated underage, and the boy wakes up to his penis wet, and his pants unzipped, and he was just like, I felt like something went down. Okay, we also hear about the girl coming from under the boxing ring, okay, crawling and all this stuff on her knees to this 17-year-old boy to give him fellatios. Yeah, Okay, so that's where we left off at. We're about to hear these fraudulent letters that he also had these men write as well. Okay, all right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. But first, before we do, I want to get into Joycelyn's letter. Okay, this is what she submitted on behalf of R. Kelly to be a witness character, if you will, to kind of let the judge lighten the sentence. So we're going to hear a lot of these letters in due time with the sentencing from the victims and onward. So this is one of them. This is Joycelyn Savage's letter that she submitted to the court. All right. Okay, so we have it here on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop myself down so you guys are able to see it in its entirety. Okay. All right. Now, shouts out to the R. Kelly open discussion group where I actually obtained this particular letter where you guys are able to read it as well. So let's go ahead and read this letter. Okay. All right. I'm going to make it bigger. And we're going to go roll for roll. Okay. All right. So I pray you guys can see that. Let me make sure that y'all can see it. Okay. All right. Y'all can see it just fine. Okay. So this is dated July 13, 2022. And it says, Dear Honorable Judge Ann Donnelly, thank you for the opportunity to share my experiences with Robert Kelly. Okay. My name is Joycelyn Savage, and I'm Robert Kelly's fiance. I'm writing this letter in support of Robert in advance of his sentencing, so I can explain to the court that I'm not the victim that the government has portrayed me to be. My relationship with Robert is amazing. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. We have a very special connection. That's because it's through bars, baby. That's connection through these jailhouse calls, emails, and phone conversations. You darn Skippy. All right, that's a very special connection. Okay, special. All right, okay. Goes on to say, and deeply in love, baby. You were the one that was left. All right. No shade, and like I said, I wish the baby to get out of this position, but we not gonna play. Y'all know I'm not gonna play over here. You were left, Joycelyn. Okay, all right. We heard about you sleeping in closets and stuff like that, girl. Right. I still support Robert to this day because I love him and will always be here to support him. Robert is not the monster that the government has described him to be. It's not just the government, baby. It's the videos that we saw, the audio that we heard, Love Bug. Yeah, it's nowhere around any of that. Not even with your words. Robert is not the monster that the government has described him to be. The Robert I know is very sweet, gentle, and kind. At the end of the day, he has always made sure that I'm taken care of, and any other women he was with as well. Child. Robert's an all around incredible person. He loves his music and is very passionate about that. He's positive, outgoing, and very generous. He always takes any opportunity he can to have to help those in need. He's very determined and focused on his goals and the things that have been said about him. With me and other women being held against our will is absolutely untrue. It's the complete opposite of who he is and what my relationship is like with Robert. Robert and I are deeply in love, and it breaks my heart that the government has created a narrative that I'm a victim. I'm a grown woman and can speak for myself. Why weren't you on the stand? Jocelyn, girl, stop. If you can speak for yourself, you are grown. I'm a grown woman. I do what I want. Why weren't you on the stand representing your man, girl? Girl. I'm a grown woman and can speak for myself, which is why I wanted to provide this letter to the court. I respectfully ask that the court take my words into consideration when sentencing Robert. He is a great man with a great heart and deserves to be home with his loved ones who are ready to support him. Thank you for reading this letter. Joycelyn Savage. Girl. First off, Joycelyn. All right. No shade. Don't too late. Okay? Too late. All right. We should have heard from you during trial. So be quiet. Okay, just sit back and eat your food, okay? Because you're a little too late. All right, you're a little too late, girl. Bye. We know this was coerced, okay? We know, baby. You wanna know how? Because he did it to everybody. All right. It's probably a letter that they found way back and they docketed it up for sentencing value. Girl, bye. Ciao, bye. All right, Joycelyn, girl. Let me see what y'all gotta say before I get into it. Hi, Andrew Love says, do you know him personally? No, I've seen him personally. Yeah, see, I can talk now. Y'all seen video firsthand. Yeah, not in court. My own eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I can talk now. Sure did. I saw it. Run and tell that. I heard. So yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm on StreamYard. She did not write that. She didn't. She didn't. Sound just like her. Okay, so you back and forth, child. I'm not gonna respond to you, Andrew Love. Kamiko says she better be thankful no one allowed her on the stand. She wouldn't have survived cross-examination at all. At all. That's why she stayed behind the letters. But I hope, and if I know Judge Donlin, y'all know I've been spot on. I gotta get back on track. But if I know her to be who I know her to be, yeah, see, my mind's on you. They're not playing. I'm telling y'all better get it. You better get it together. They're not playing with you, okay? They're not. Your girl is back. But if I know Judge Donlin to be who I know she gonna be like too late. Too late, okay? Monica said joy is nuts. I mean, not trying to be funny, but when she was interacting with her parents and when she came back, it was kind of like how she was talking and stuff. It's Andrew Love, it's a mixture, child. Monica says, and the only letters that the judge might, and that's a big might, would be a letter from his children. I doubt he'd get that. I doubt it. Because don't make me run back to my video where we saw our interview of his daughter. Like saying, he better not call me. That's a no for me. No, I don't care for any of his contribution. This is his own flesh and blood. That look just like him. Don't want nothing to do with him. Child, please. Miss me with that. Anyways, you guys, speaking of fake letters, let's go ahead and get into the this transcript. And let's read exactly what other fraudulent stuff this man was doing. What other fraudulent stuff this man was doing, okay? Let me go ahead and share my screen. Last time we left off on page 70. Oh no, did I wasn't trying to. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me share my screen with you again. All right. Okay. All right. So I threw myself up to the side. And we're going to head and get into this read. Let me see. Y'all prefer me? Wait. I prefer me down here. Oh, and now that's going to take up the screen. Let me go off to the right. All right. Cool. Okay. So everybody should be caught up in the breast as to what transpired on the last few pages that we read. We're going to do a few pages here. I'll probably give you guys, like I said, a good hour, okay, 45 minutes or whatever. And we're just going to read and continue to read these transcripts of John Doe because it wasn't just females that he did this to, it was males as well. So we're also going to hear about some fake letters that he had them do too. So let's go ahead and get into this read, okay? All right. I'm gonna make it be a bit bigger. Okay. Let me. Oh yeah, this is actually where we left off at. Yes. Prior to that time, had you seen this individual, the one shown in Government's Exhibit 78? Oh, sorry. Oh no! Stop it! Stop! No, just looked maybe familiar from women from the basketball court, but I never seen her like in person. Met her. Had the defendant ever introduced you to the woman in 78? He says no. What happened when the defendant and the woman in Government's Exhibit 78 came into the room? He said he instructed her what to do. What did you hear the defendant say to her? Told her to give me oral sex. And how was the individual in 78 dressed when she entered in the room? He said she had on just a t-shirt. And what happened when she came into the room and after the defendant told her to give you oral sex? He said, she then gave me oral sex. He was asked, where was the defendant when that happened? He said, standing off into the corner. So this old nasty, dirty foot, herpy having man was standing off in the corner like a freaking peeping Tom, like a perv up in the corner watching. What, if anything, was the defendant doing when that happened? He said recording. I guess this boy lied too. What was he using to record? He said an iPad. An iPad. Like everybody else, like the girls. No discrimination. He's EOE. Equal opportunity. Okay. Disgusting. Okay. Off in the corner. Recording like a perv. Hey, Cher. And hey, Angela. All right, let's continue. Oh, weirdo. How were you able to see that? I was sitting down in the chair. She was on her knees. I can see him right there. Clear as day. Clear as day. Could you see the iPad? Yes. Could you see what was shown on the iPad? Could I see what was shown? Uh-huh. Could you redirect your question? Sure. Were you able to see what was being recorded on the iPad? He said no. Why not? It's faced towards him. So basically, y'all, I ain't got an iPad, but I mean, I can use my phone. It's the same device. So basically, the camera, as you see the camera here, and he's watching like a little perv, getting off on this little boy. Because mind you, he's still 17, getting his rocks off with however old this girl was doing this to him. And what, if anything, did the defendant do or say while the individual shown in 78 was giving you oral sex aside from the recording? What was he saying? Uh-huh. Just telling her, call him daddy. Call him by his name. And the defendant was telling the individual in 78 to call who daddy? Me at the moment. During that encounter, who, if anyone, was giving instructions? Robert. Y'all don't mean to tell me the white man wasn't in there? Because that's why I'm hearing the reason why he in this predicament. The white man. You mean to tell me the government? We will where the I don't read nothing about the government. But Robert, oh, okay. What, if anything, did you do while the defendant gave instructions? He said, sat there. Did you say anything? He said, no. What, if anything, did the individual in Government's Exhibit 78 say during that encounter? He says, she just did as she was told. She didn't say nothing except call me by my name and call me daddy. She just did as she was told. To be clear, I don't want you to say your name, but did the defendant use your real name when he told her to call you by your name? He says yes. Now, how did you respond when the individual in Government's Exhibit 78 was giving you oral sex with the defendant in the room? He said, and how did I react? She said yes. He said, I was just sitting there. I really couldn't get really excited because it was an uncomfortable situation. I bet when you have this old fart of a Negro watching you get your rocks off, and you like, really? I bet. Extremely uncomfortable. Ugh. What made it uncomfortable? Here, what I say? Because Robert was just standing there. And so, can you imagine? Oh, perv. The defendant. Yes. Did you want the individual shown in Government's Exhibit 78 to be giving you oral sex in front of the defendant? He said, no, 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 no. And that should tell you something right there. Most dudes won't get head. Okay? Sloppy top. This baby, even though this was the opposite sex, he wasn't getting it from R. Kelly no more. He said, no, I didn't want that, especially if R. Kelly up here watching me. Hey, Tavier, it is tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming live. What, if anything, did you, the defendant, say? He answers, he's seen I wasn't getting excited from what was going on. He was like, I'm confused. I don't know what you want. Mind you, well, I'm going to read it. He says, he's seen I wasn't getting excited from that, from what was going on. Okay. And then he goes on to say, he was like, I'm confused. I don't know what you want. I don't want if you want a woman or a man. I think the court reporter meant to say, I don't know if you want a woman or man. But let's talk about it. The reason why he feel that way is because when he got on his knees, that confirms a lie. Okay. Why would he make that statement? Why? Because R. Kelly had his mouth on this little 17-year-old boy, and he didn't get off on it. But the difference is, Ninja, he's into girls. But you standing there watching. Most people aren't porn stars. Most people like to do what they do in the comfort of their home or a car or wherever, but ain't nobody just standing there watching them and seeing them get off. Just to be clear for the record, when you say that you weren't getting excited, do you mean you weren't sexually responding to what was happening? He says yes. Mr. Koenig leading, the judge says overruled. She says, during the time that you spent with the defendant at his house or at his studio, and by the way, before I ask that question, you testified earlier about the studio at Olympia Fields and also about the studio on Justine Street. Have you visited any other studios that the defendant used? He said yes. She asked, where were those? He said on Ohio Street. She said, do you recall when you say Ohio Street, in what city? He said Chicago, Illinois. Now, do you recall when the defendant was using the studio on Ohio Street? He answers and says, I'm not sure of the dates or the year. I know it was in between Olympia Fields and Justine. And she goes on to ask, so it was after his time in Olympia Fields and before his time in the studio on Justine Street? He says, yes, correct. She says, well, during the time that you spent with the defendant at his house or at his studios, have you ever taken anything from him? Come on now. Oh. Uh-oh. Rewind. During the time that you spent with the defendant at his house or at his studios, have you ever taken anything from him? He says yes. Couldn't be. That's just them broke, fast tail girls. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, the one we got the audio and him cussing one of them out because she supposedly stole a watch from him. Y'all remember that? The one he vanished off to her room and said not to call nobody because I got cameras everywhere, test my gangster and all that stuff. And girls wind up off behind this, murked behind this, in his words. Yeah. So again, it wasn't just the girls taking stuff from him. But let's see if we got an audio about good old John Doe right here and what happened to him when he stole from the cave. Let's see. Let's see if the energy was the same. Let's see. He says, well, she asked, just to be clear, I'm talking about other than the time you took that money that he provided for the individual number 68's bail. What have you taken? Oh, hear this, my beautiful, beautiful people. A camcorder. Now, inquiring minds would like to know, why would he take a camcorder? Why? Let's see why. When did you take the camcorder from the defendants? He said, you said when? She said yes. This is what had happened was. He says, me and one of my friends was at a party. Most of the time, you got to wait around before you get to the party sometimes. There was a camcorder sitting on a desk with a runner. And I asked the runner about it. He had said he thinks it was somebody that left it there from a party. It was there for some days. So I took it. When you say a runner, who are you referring to? What do you mean by a runner? He said someone who works for Robert. She asked, where was this happened? He said the house in Olympia Fields. She said, what, if anything, did you do with the camcorder? He said, I took it home and watched it. So he physically removed the camcorder from R.Kelly's home only to bring it back to his home. So he stole it. Yeah, he didn't borrow it. He stole it. He didn't ask. And he took it. And he took it home only to watch it. Thank you. House Demi, I miss her. Remember when she showed us the Jeep? She's doing well. She's inside. What was on the camcorder, she asked. It was just him rehearsing. The defendant rehearsing. He said yes. And what happened to that camcorder? Listen what happened. He said, later on, my friend had called me and told me to give it back. You mean to tell me that's all? You just got the friendly advice to give it back. Must be nice having a ping. Because if you have a thing, you're in that thing. Okay? The individual who calls you, was it the individual shown in Government's Exhibit 68, which I'm putting on the screen? He said, yes, that's Alex. What did you do with the camcorder at that time? He said, gave it to him. He took it back. You gave it to this individual? He said, yes. In 68, for the record, he said, yes. So she says, okay, well, aside from the camcorder, was there anything else that you took from the defendant or the defendant's residence? He said, no. She goes on to ask, do you remember the last time that you saw the defendant in person? He says, yes. She said, prior to today? He says, yes. She asked, well, where did you last see the defendant in person? Okay. He says, at the Trump Towers. Okay, now this is where I get kinky. Okay, this is where the letters take place. All right, this is where the letters take place, and we're going to see what had happened was, okay? Intensity Laws, shouts out to her. She created my custom piece, my custom dress that I wore when we celebrated 5K here on the channel. So shouts out to her. But she says R. Kelly is a horrible man, and the industry allowed him to take advantage of children and women. Yes. Where was the defendant? He said living. Where was the defendant living at that time? He answered at the Trump Towers. What led to you seeing the defendant at the Trump Towers? He said he told me he needed to talk to me. Uh-oh. She goes on to say, well, do you remember approximately when this happened, when you last saw him? He said, not sure of the date. She goes on to ask him, you said that you saw him at the Trump Towers. Was that the Trump Towers in Chicago? He said yes. Where he was living? He said yes. She then asked him, okay, you said that the defendant said he needed to see you. Is that correct? He says yes. She says, well, who, if anyone else, was there when you saw the defendant at the Trump Towers that day? He said the only person I saw there that day was him. She goes on to say, well, what happened when you saw the defendant? He said, we sat in the hallway. She said, which hallway? He said, of the Trump Towers. She says, and do you remember what floor you were on? He said, no. She goes on to say, well, do you remember what happened when you saw the defendant? Listen to this. Peep this out. He came to the door. He came out, said we need to talk. He had a notepad and a pen. The lawyer asked, and were you meeting with the defendant inside an apartment at the Trump Towers or outside? He said outside in the hallway. She said, okay, so if the hallway, in the hallway outside of the apartment, is that correct? He said, correct. So then she says, you testified he came out with what? He repeated a notepad and a pen. Well, I wonder what that was for. She says, well, what did he say to do? Let's see what he said to do, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? He said, told me, he said he need me to write this letter to protect me and him. Rather familiar. Rather daggone stinking familiar. And how did you respond? He said, I said, okay. She goes on to ask, well, did the defendant tell what he wanted you to write in this letter? He says, yes. So you mean to tell me that this was not something that, Lewis thought up on his own? He wasn't enthused to do on his own? So much so that our Smelly had to tell him what to say? Oh, no. Let's see. She says, well, did you in fact write the letter? He said, yes. Most of them do in fact write the letter. But is it legitimate? Is it something that they wanted to write? Not necessarily. But, I concur. Let's continue. How did you write it? He said, how did I write it? She said, uh-huh. She said, he said he gave me the notepad and I wrote the letter. She said, handwritten letter? He says, yes. And she says, and whose idea was the content in the letter? Whose idea was it with the information in the letter, basically? Every word that you're about to hear, like who thought of it? Who came up with the content? He said, peep this, peep this, peep this. He said, he told me word for word what to say. Again, I find this very hard. I'm not hearing anything about the government or the white man or the parents. Where were his parents? I find this hard to believe. I think he got paid off writing letters and all sort. That's not real. What did he tell you what to write? Listen to this. Okay? He said he told me that some people were trying to contact me and pay me off because they say he was having a homosexual relationship. Sounds awfully familiar with what is going on now in the way of the world with this particular boy's story. I don't know if y'all heard or are hearing, but they're saying that these John Does got paid off. Wonder where that theory came about. But I concur. Let's continue. We're almost done, you guys. She says, and so what did he want you to say about that? He goes on to say that's what he wanted me to write in the letter, that some people was calling me to contact me to pay me to say we was having a sexual relationship. And she says, well, did you indicate in that letter whether you were or were not having a sexual relationship with the defendant? He said no. At that time, had anyone contacted you about a sexual relationship with the defendant? He said no. No. So again, it was a lie. He was writing down falsities. That's why I miss me with the whole, the parents and falsities. Falsehoods. Not true. Wasn't nobody calling him, jocking him. And also lie, he was sexually involved with the boy. Had anyone paid you any money? No. In regard to a sexual relationship with the defendant? No. So was the content of the letter that you wrote true? No. No. Now, you testified that the defendant told you it was for his protection. Is that correct? He said, yes. What did you understand the defendant to mean by that? He answered, I thought it was something that will protect us. So what happened in the past would never come to light. Oh. Now, what do you mean what had happened in the past? He answered, sexual encounters that we had. Baby was expecting and hoping that this stuff wouldn't come out. And on the contrary, this baby is married with children now. I bet just like the other victims wanted to live life and move on with his life. But I ain't heard no threats, no arsonists, attacks, and robberies on him. Oh no. Oh no. Let's wrap this up, you guys. Aside from telling the government in prior meetings and your lawyer, and today in this courtroom, have you told anyone about that letter? He said no. Well, yes, I did. I did. Do you remember who you told without saying the name? He said number 68, which is Alex. The individual shown in number 68, he said yes. Said, now, do you remember when you told this individual in number 68 about the letter? Y'all, this is the last page. He says, I think we was out. We went to the mall or something like that. I had just told him that I had to write a letter, and he told me he had to write the same letter. He told me that he had to write the same letter too. Not these John Does, but the Jane Does too, and the people that worked with him, the people that didn't, the mamas, the daddies, the sisters, the brothers, anybody that he could get in that vortex had to write a letter. Had to act as if they were stealing from him and all this craziness. Tavier says, what time you're going live tomorrow? I'm excited. I'm going to pre-schedule it for tonight. I have to look at scheduling because it's going on in New York. I'm in Texas. So that time difference, I just got to confirm times. And then I got to reach out to my people that are going to be in the courtroom to see if, they'll be able to still communicate with me while being in there. I've been away, y'all. So I got to make sure that everything is still put in position from, months back. But yeah. She says, I want to switch gears for a moment. Who did you live with during high school? He said, my mom and stepfather. And she says, and what, if any, relationship did you have with your biological father when you were in high school? He says, somewhat relationship. She says, would you spend time with him? He said, yes. She says, when would you spend time with him? He said, mostly on the weekends. So then she asked, without saying it, do you remember your home telephone number at your mom's house when you were growing up? He says, yes. Funny, because I do not. I just remember 214-398. That's it. Did you provide that telephone number to the government? He said, yes. She says, does she still have that number, that phone number today? He says, yes, that's why. Wow, that's amazing. She says, I'm showing the witness only what is marked for identification as Government's Exhibit 939. Do you recognize what is shown in Government's Exhibit 939? He says, yes. She asks, what is that? And we're going to stop there on page 1879, and we're going to pick up on page 1880, and the overall page 80 out of 136 pages. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. All right, ciao. Hey, Queen Keish. Woo, child. Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, we just wrapped up another few pages in regards to this particular series, Evidence Over Emotions. They called him Daddy too, the John Doe's of R.KELLY. And this particular piece that we read, we heard about iPads, him confirming that he saw them, him getting fellatios now from a female, and R. Kelly is like, I don't know if he like men or women, you know, basically shooting slugs because he didn't get aroused by him. Okay. And then we hear about the fake letters. Okay. That he, Alex over there, okay, had to write. So it wasn't just a one person situation. John Doe Lewis and John Doe Alex had to write these letters, as well as Jane Doe and Jane Doe and Jane and Faith and all these other people. Some way, shape, or form, he had to cover his behind and try to protect himself. Anyways, y'all. Tabor says you're leaving us. Cries. Oh, don't. Like I told y'all, I am going to be live on tomorrow. Look out for that pre-schedule. I'm going to pre-schedule it, and then I'm going to post it onto my wall so you guys will be able to set your reminders. I'm going to be up and at it, like I said, and I'm going to try to be getting some firsthand information from the courtroom, because I will have actually some of the witnesses will be that are taking a stand, that will be able to be heard. They're going to be in a courtroom, and I will be in correspondence with them directly. This ain't going to be no news feed, which we'll have the news feed going. However, I'm going to have them in court to be texting me and, you know, and letting me know, because it's not going to be any media in there. It's not. So hopefully I can get the information firsthand and, you know, announce it live from my people that are going to be in the courtroom inside that mug. I wanted to be one of them, but when they kept changing all the dates and stuff like that, I was just like, you know what, y'all, I ain't got time. But someone will be in the courtroom on our behalf, okay? All right, y'all. I think that is pretty much it from me. I don't see any more comments, you guys. But yeah, I will be back on tomorrow morning, bright and early, to be able to go live for the sentencing of R. Kelly. D-Day is here. Okay, D-Day is here. And then later on, I will be bringing you guys to Where Were the Parents, okay? And, you know, after that, we're going to be full steam ahead with the Illinois trial and picking up that, you know, reading the transcripts in regards to that and getting prepared for that. Yeah, I'm going to push my little coins aside. I'm going to save my little ducats. So I'll be able to buy the transcripts, you know, and read them firsthand. So not for nothing, you guys, that is the video. Thank you guys so very much for tuning into another installation of this series, Evidence Over Emotions. They called him Daddy too. The testimony of the John Doe's of R. Kelly, okay? All right, you guys, thank you so very much, and I'll see you next week. But for sure tomorrow. Good night, you guys.
Don't you just love trolls? Said no one ever. What if I told you I know how to minimize, virtually erase your channel trolls? Yeah, that's right. Hi, I'm Whitney D of WhitneyD TV, and with my two-step process, get your trolls under your thumb. What does trolling mean? To antagonize others online by deliberately posting inflammatory, irrelevant, or offensive comments, or other disruptive content. Trolls engage in the most outrageous and offensive behavior possible, all the better to troll you with. As a content creator myself, I dealt with trolling head on into the start of my YouTube career, and it was devastating. As time went on, however, I discovered settings and controls that helped me minimize and virtually erase trolling, and I loved it. Doing these easy steps changed everything. Click the link below to get my ebook on how to stop trolling.
I'm Whitney. Keep it cute, but get the boot.